This is Dan Starkey, alias Commander Strex. Please watch the hashtag show or prepare to be obliterated, human scum!
On Doctor Who. After stopping 40 green aliens from starting World War III in London, the Doctor and Rose leave Mickey behind once again. Following an alien distress signal, the pair land back on Earth. It's 2012, and the Doctor and Rose end up in an American billionaire's alien museum. Mustachioed Bill Gates is named Henry Van Staten, and the Doctor gives him a music lesson. To show his gratitude, Henry locks the Doctor in a cage with his pet alien. Shockingly, the alien is a Dalek. A complete surprise, unless you read the episode's title or watched last week's episode preview. The Doctor is once again faced with his greatest nemesis. The Doctor loses it, rationalizes a war crime, and then has a good laugh about it. Billionaire Henry breaks up the love fest and demonstrates his best James Bond villain impression on the Doctor. Meanwhile, Rose has spotted a new British guy named Adam and tries to make her move. Adam is totally into her and shows off his vintage console collection to try and impress her. Rose is suitably impressed until she sees the Dalek being given a full-body root canal. The two head down to the cage to rescue the poor alien. Unfortunately, Rose invades the Dalek's personal space and touches it inappropriately. The Dalek then demonstrates why you do not mock an alien with a toilet plunger. Rose is suitably impressed and runs away in terror with Adam. The Dalek breaks out of his prison, it rebuilds its armor, and kills some people. It starts heading to the exit and kills some people. This is a family show, right? Oh well. All the Americans grab their guns and shoot at the Dalek. America! The Dalek is not impressed, and kills some people. The Doctor sacrifices Rose to stop it, and then yells at Adam for doing the exact same thing. Even though they just met, Rose and the Dalek feel a deep connection to each other. And Rose talks the Dalek out of killing more people. When the Doctor tries to kill the Dalek, Rose sides with it instead of the Doctor. The Dalek and the Doctor share a bonding moment, realizing they are both the last of their kind. The Doctor copes by picking up strangers and going on life-threatening adventures with them. The Dalek copes by saying goodbye to existence. Finally, the billionaire loses all his money, Rose gets a new boyfriend, and the Doctor gets jelly. And that's what happened this week on Doctor Who.
We are live from Gallifrey. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Because we can. I don't know if that helps anyone.
Well, anyway, I'm Elle Tea, and...
Hey, I am, Daniel Jerome. That's who I am. No, I'm going to get out of here like I'm going to holler at your boy. It's me, the BSG. That's right, Battlestar Galactica, a.k.a. Purveyor of Petty, a.k.a. Double E. That's right, Ebony Excellence.
Thank you so much, Khaleesi. And we are here live from Gallifrey, and we are going to talk about the episode called Dalek. Spoilers. There was a Dalek in this episode.
Oh my god. Starting right off with the episode, I love how we immediately start off, they tell us where we are, but he can do that by smelling and tasting the air, which
they
the
are
doctor's
in
always
2012 in Utah, in the United States.
Did you know that there's a Doctor theme for Matt Smith?
I only know this because this is what we were talking about while you guys couldn't hear us and we were dancing to Doctor Who music behind the scenes.
I Am the Doctor in Utah, which is now known as Matt Smith's theme. And that song, once again titled I Am the Doctor in Utah, connects to this because of the whole dialect thing. And it was just like, hey, callback.
Yes.
So, dopeness. Nice. I also want my own alien museum because 2012 is coming on. Where's my alien museum? That's all.
In Utah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Utah. I'm going to bring it to me.
I'm pretty sure there's one in Roswell, too.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
That one's like, meh. I've been there. It
was
meh. Yeah, it's not
but you know what's not boo is this episode.
Yes!
Which is super interesting. And spoilers ahead, you guys know that I don't really like Rose. This one, I actually liked her a little bit.
Actually, Rose is growing. She's developing as far as a character, as far as a human being, someone with a soul or cares about other people. She's doing pretty well. It's a shock. Because it's not in her character.
We get, as our little intro explained, that we are kind of in this alien museum.
Yes.
And they have a captive Dalek which is the arch nemesis of the Doctor and Time Lords in general. And we have Rose, who actually is compassionate for this murderous exterminator, which is kind of weird to me. But I like that she sees this thing being tortured at one point. She's like, you can't torture that. You can't do this.
In defense of the Doctor, I've got to say, it was just the Dalek trying to manipulate Rose for a majority of the time. He needed that touch, that inappropriate touch that he got.
Yes.
He needed that one. He got exactly what he wanted. Oh, yeah. And that's all he wanted. And so essentially he just manipulated him just so he can get that. And it was like, this lets us know how dangerous the Daleks are. This lets us know why the Doctor was almost willing to, hey, kill them. Go ahead and destroy it. Go ahead and torture it. This is the Doctor after the Time War. You know?
And we should let's talk about that really briefly. So we have this mentioned in previous episodes that a time war was going on. We don't know any specifics, but we find out that our Doctor, the Time Lord, basically committed mass genocide against this race of Daleks.
Yes. It drops that info right there.
And with that, not only it kind of kills all the Daleks, but kills his own race of people. He is the last Time Lord, and we realize why he kind of has this chip on his shoulder, why he doesn't want to talk about his past. He mass murdered like 2 races.
Yeah.
Like you
with essentially a push of a button.
That's some heavy stuff, man.
Yeah.
That is some heavy stuff. And it's kind of crazy that we get this, too, that he's kind of able to laugh about it. And this isn't the Doctor that, you know, if you're caught up, that we've come to kind of love and learn. So it is weird and shocking to go back to these episodes and see this kind of right after war Doctor and how he's acting.
Well, this is the reason, really, for me, like, even MJ Spud saying it, he effing loved this episode. And it is one that made me say, yeah, I'm ready to do a Retro Who kind of look back. Because this episode, like, gives us such an introspective kind of review on him, where it's like, okay, post-war Doctor.
Yes.
We get a Doctor who approves of the use of guns, which that's not what we know to be the case. He even participated in torturing.
Yeah, and he sees this Dalek that is kind of not working, and his immediate response is to try to electrocute it to death. And it's a weird thing. The Doctor now, who has come so far from this post-war Doctor regeneration, and how the philosophy, mentality, ethics have changed over the years. So it is incredibly jarring to go back, but that's why I kind of like it. And when you understand what he had to do in order to save so many others and to get rid of this ultimate time war,
that's true.
That the weight that he had to carry around,
man,
kind of adds to his character, and you kind of understand a little bit more, and you sympathize with him, even if you don't really agree with his actions. You understand where it's coming from, which I really enjoy.
That is so true. And then thinking about it, even with that, on that same note, it was like we got so much when it came to just the range of emotion from Eccleston at the first time he meets and sees the Dalek, and he's eyed a plunger hole or whatever that is. And immediately at that moment, we get like the sense of intrigue, we get fear, we get joy, anger, vengeance, remorse, and even rage, all in just that initial reaction. We get that whole gamut of just a range of emotion. And it was like, I love that. That's why Eccleston is possibly one of the best Doctors, because he was able to give us that. And it was like, it went from being dopey, weird, big-eared guy to now giving us a great interaction with this weird robot-looking thing.
Yeah. I mean, that is true, and I feel like it's a good compliment in this particular episode as well, where he is kind of going off the rails and kind of on this murderous rampage. Rose doesn't really understand the gravity of what has happened in his past, and she has this compassion. It's like, hey, you are crossing the line. Like, this thing is already dying. And I think part of it, too, is because this Dalek absorbs some of her compassion when she inappropriately touches the Dalek and is like, I can't just murder. I have this horrible, horrible, like, disease in my head now that I can't kill everyone that I have.
Feelings.
Feelings. But I really like this story arc, and I really like Rose in this episode. What I don't like is being an American in this episode, because Van Staten is just portrayed as such an arrogant, cocky, and I feel like this is the view of America, and I don't want to say it is unjust or unwarranted.
But
A lot of people don't necessarily agree with this viewpoint. And even in like the most current season, we see an American too, and it's just like, oh man.
Well, what
Brits,
he is
this what you think of us?
What he is the embodiment of the idea of capitalism,
Yes.
the embodiment of the idea of just like, oh hey, we all need guns. You know,
Yep.
it's all
He's
the bad
part of the
things
NRA.
us.
He's chauvinistic.
There
He's
you go.
incredibly rude. He's incredibly condescending and arrogant and self-centered in his own what he wants to do.
I mean,
It's a
makes
really
sense,
good antagonist, and that's what I kind of felt like that. As a Doctor Who fan, you know that the Daleks are kind of like the biggest bad that you can encounter in Doctor Who, but that wasn't really the focus. It was the American guy getting in the way and trying to prevent it and like trying to do it for his own selfish reasons. That was like the real bad in this episode, the real annoyance, the big thing you had to fear.
It was huge. It was
Yeah.
one of the greatest things, and that's why this episode, like even MJ Spud says it in the chat. He says this episode till this day gives him chills.
Yeah.
Till this day.
Because
it
at the
gives him
end, when you
chills.
see it, and the Dalek punches a hole in the roof, and the sunlight comes in, and he's kind of absorbing it, and you see his real form, and it is like this weird, delicate tentacle monster.
It's a little baby.
It's really gross.
Yeah.
It's sludging everywhere. But that is my opinion. But I also really like the Savine, and I thought they were cute. So
that's
feel
true.
free to argue with me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We can't just automatically go for what you're saying here.
Dalek innards, not a fan of. Don't think it's cute, but I'm
It had
pretty
that
sure
one little eye. It was so cute.
it's pretty big compared to its body.
And that's what makes it better, like those big anime eyes.
All right.
How dare you, you monstrous.
But yeah, we also get introduced to another character because, like, I really like the side characters in a lot of these episodes.
Oh, boy.
And we get, Donald Trump. That's a lot of our.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. When
Yeah.
they think, when they're like, hey, let's kind of figure out what an ideal American is. They're like, Trump it is. It's
Yep,
not great.
I'm kind of ashamed that that's our representation, but you know what? It is what it is.
What can I do about it?
Yep.
Except for impeach him. So you were saying.
So we get Adam in this episode, and I thought this was really interesting. He's a good-looking kid and
Dude.
incredibly smart. He is genius level, and I like that. But it rubbed me a little bit the wrong way how Rose immediately kind of latched onto him, and is like has goo eyes for Adam, and I understand why. But
You understand why?
Why don't you break it off with Mickey before you get into this other stuff?
I don't understand it at all. She pretty much did break it off with Mickey, connected to the doctor, was like, you're mine now. And then that guy was like, hello. And she was like, get away. And then went straight for him. Like,
And even
anyone.
the doctor is also jealous. This 900-year-old man hitting on this 19-year-old girl, taking her away on exotic vacations. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And she finds someone of her own species and of an age-appropriate dating range.
Oh, yeah.
And the doctor gets jealous, and it's a weird thing. I don't necessarily like the doctor having a romantic relationship with the companions. It's odd to me. We talked about it before, like the vampire thing. Like, I'm like 5,000 years old, and I like the blood of virgins kind of thing. Like, it's weird.
It's awkward.
It's a weird thing. But
I liked Adam, actually. I mean, like he had his whole... Like,
he's kind of cocky with his genius status, but he's very helpful. He wants to get them out. Like, I feel like,
Yeah, I thought, okay. I mean,
hope he gets paid a lot, because he did a lot of stuff in this episode that's probably above his, like,
way
pay
above
rate.
his pay rate. He was just like, all right, what do you need me to do? All right, no problem. Lock these doors, give these people guns, and okay, I think I've done a lot of work today. And it was like, yeah, I don't disagree with you, Adam. You did great. Adam deserves everything he got.
Yes. And it's crazy because he gets to go into the TARDIS, which for a second, like, I thought it was also weird at the very end of this episode. We have Rose and the Doctor, and they're having a conversation of like, hey, should we take him? Should we not take him? But I'm like, he's standing right there. If you watch Power Rangers at all, the Retro Ranger wrap-up, she's a little bit of cat in this episode.
A little bit, where she'll just say things, and he's like, excuse me, I'm right. She's like, shh, quiet, we're talking. And then she'll just keep talking about him. And
it's
like, wow.
he's Adam's standing right there, but I like how he does kind of like, so am I invited in? Like, can I look in your box? And he just goes in, the episode
That's
ends.
the question we always ask, isn't it, guys?
What's in the box?
Can I look inside your box? Okay.
Step one?
Yeah. Step one. Oh,
Put
open
something
the
in the
box.
box,
Yeah,
and step two, you open the box.
Yeah, well, then there's a gift inside.
We're going off the rails. I'm sorry. I brought that one up. Point sting for me.
Always not. Just a little bit naughty. A little bit.
Okay. U.S. Dutch Kitty, 9 was not the first Doctor to flirt and fall in love with a companion. That is true.
Oh, that's very true.
Even 8 had huge romantic and like making out all on their one time special episode. But that was like a very kind of American thing, I feel like.
Yeah, it was weird. Because, I mean, at one time it was understanding, the doctor was asexual. But though you are asexual doesn't mean you don't have romantic feelings. You just don't,
But yeah, that was weird. That was a weird thing. This is a weird thing.
It just the doctor's too busy to have a
Tony,
relationship.
you are being savage. Should have left Adam there. Not everyone deserves time travel. That is true.
Wow.
But honestly, I feel like Adam's a little more capable than Rose.
Yeah,
Personally,
I agree.
If I were the doctor,
my biggest question is, Tony, who hurt you? Because you really hate Adam, and I just want to know as to why you hate him so much. I thought he was an okay guy, and I think he's better than Rose and Mons.
Aw, thanks, Tony.
It's not your fault, yo. You're perfect. Don't change. And then here comes Daniel. You're an idiot. That's what I'm expecting to see on the next bit. Like just right there in the thing. She's like, but Daniel, ew. But no, yeah, Tony. I just want to know what happened to you.
Oh man, Dutch Kitty too. Is 8 had a few companions. Had sex with one. Yeah, those Big Finish audios are pretty interesting. I hope that one day we will be able to do a show on those and do like a series, because those are actually incredibly interesting.
Missy has one. Missy has a series coming out now.
Oh man, yes. I love her. She is probably one of my favorite doctors.
It was Shay that said it instead.
Oh.
That's understandable.
Oh, okay.
That's understandable. I love you too, Shay. Dinner better be warming up when I get home. I hate Adam because of the next episode. Oh,
you jumped ahead of the game, Tony.
Okay, yeah. Don't go too fast. We're talking about it right now. Slow down.
But for right now, he seems like a very kind of good, charismatic guy. Where it's like, I feel like he's trustworthy, and I feel like I would probably be bamboozled by him.
Yeah, I would.
Because I was like, seems fine.
I would, because he's unassuming. You don't know, and then all of a sudden he's like, aha, surprise, I'm a dick.
Well, but still, him compared to Rose at this point, where I was like, he's incredibly smart. Yes. He's like good in action. He seems to be pretty compassionate. We'll see. Not as much as Rose in this episode, but Rose was a really standout one, considering we bash on her almost every week, with the exception of like 1 or 2 episodes. True. That she makes some pretty poor decisions.
Well, we know that is Rose's type, because later she ends up with Tennant. So, and it's like, come on, okay, kind of looks like that's her type. So that's why.
Yeah, like not 900 years old. Yeah, but also she likes guys that are 900 years old. So
Hey, give or take. Sometimes you just need to figure it out. How was the ending for you with this episode? Ultimately, everything ramps up. It's all nice and a pretty bow.
I actually really, really liked it. I like that they had the whole Dalek, and he was like, "I can't live this way. I would like to choose to end my life on my own terms. I don't want to be the last of my kind. I have no directive to follow. Right. Like, I have no purpose in my life right now." And the Doctor understanding this as well, knowing like how they are and how that species progresses and gets through their daily life. Like, true. Everything that Dalek has to live for, and it's already suffering, and it's going to die anyway. He's like, I'm going to implode. And it was a really good emotional moment. And if we ended like that, it would have been depressing. But with Adam and Rose and the Doctor getting into the box and having that hope and possibility of traveling somewhere else and seeing other things, I thought it was a perfectly wrapped up episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. I think everything about it was pretty good. Like they're even saying there, pretty much we had a Dalek with PTSD.
Yeah, U.S. Dutch Kitty is absolutely right, especially coming after the war. We don't really find out exactly what happens until we have that 50th anniversary episode. But yeah, we get glimpses of it, and I think that is the most telling about the Doctor, that he is trying to kind of hide it and run away from like this horrible thing that he did.
Oh. But for the Dalek itself, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of messed up because, like we said, it fell out of time. It just fell out of time right over there. So it means, did it fall out from the Time War itself already? So it went through a lot of horrible things to see, and then falls right out of time and stays in a crater burning. Yeah. Burning, and it's just sitting there burning, and then they said the whole time it was screaming. Yeah. I mean, so that's why I'm like, like I agree with you where you're saying PTSD is definitely something that's very plausible.
And same thing for the Dalek too, going through all of that, and I think that's where they have that mutual understanding at the end of the episode, and that's why it has such a huge impact for the viewers. Even if you didn't watch any of the old Doctor Who episodes or know a whole lot about Daleks and the Time Lords, you understand that they are like arch nemesis. The Doctor wiped everybody out for the greater good, quote unquote.
So, I mean...
So we got Thanos over here, like, how many years? 14 years before he came around.
Well, true, pretty much. So, but with this being the case, this episode is one that, would you agree, saying this is a must-see?
Yes, I feel like this one is incredibly good. It's our first introduction of this kind, not really reboot, like, but new Who. Mm-hmm. And it's a pivotal moment.
Yeah. For a lot of people, it was the first time they ever encountered a Dalek, and it was great. We got to understand exactly what they were, what their purpose is, what's their driving force, and why they do what they do.
Yeah.
So if you had to rate this episode, and you had to give it something.
Oh
God, the body count. What did he say? Only about, 30 people? You're like, no. There was much more than 30 people that died here. And you just have, it's only 30 people. No, it's not only 30 people, dude. I think you killed everyone in the facility besides those people that were standing right there with you at that moment.
Yeah.
Everyone else is dead. God, and one Dalek. It was like 30 men and one Dalek. Wow.
But I feel like it means a lot, too. So we see the Dalek murder all of these people and, like, vaporize them and their skeletons. And I thought it was such a great moment when the doctor was like, trying to kill the Dalek. He's like, you would make a good Dalek. You have that mentality. Where you are right now mentally, you are not stable. You are not good. And I feel like this is the doctor's arc that we see from here, especially to 13, on how much has changed. And watching these 2 seasons back to back is probably the most eye-opening. Because, I do remember these episodes when I go back and watch them, but it's like, whoa, so much has changed.
As far as our perspective, understanding exactly who he was.
Yes.
At this time, we're getting into something and not really getting it. And it's like, this is a great idea when it comes to the show. It's about time travel, and this is something where it's like, now I see what happens, and I go back and watch it, my appreciation just increases.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, thank you so much for giving us the time to even create a story this good. And then for everyone else to keep it in mind as a through line, all the way up till now, we go full circle. It's beautiful.
Yeah. David Tennant, Tony says, David Tennant, not creepy. I mean, we could argue, but he's not. He's
David
such
Tennant
a handsome
is not
guy.
creepy. I don't care what anyone says. That
David
guy.
Tennant is super great, but him as a doctor and the whole road, we'll get to there in a few months.
True. David Tennant is definitely not creepy. I will agree with you. So... Oh, wow. Look at the side-by-side there.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one that was creepy. If you have to say one of them is creepy.
Oh, man, but in this picture, Tennant's hair looks just so greasy. Like, that's kind of a thing.
He kind of looks like how he did on Harry Potter.
But this is a good comparison because they have, like, the same floppy hair. They're wearing the same color. So this is a very accurate kind of, and I love them both. I absolutely love them both as a doctor.
So you're pretty much not giving me an answer is what you're saying.
No, I can't.
Okay,
honestly, because I don't like Rose, I'm always going to go with Matt Smith first because, Tennant just gives into her and boy, grow spine. But once we get after that, but Donna is my favorite companion. And Donna and Tennant together is probably one of my favorite couplings.
Oh, really?
Because they're not romantically interested in each other either, and it's just fun and banter and quick-witted, and it's great. But Josh Goldman asks, do you look at Eccleston's Doctor differently now on the rewatch?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. I see him as a different character, far more established now. I've got all the pieces of the puzzle for him, and it's just everything makes sense. All of his actions make sense now.
Especially after we get to see John Hurt as the War Doctor, and then knowing that Eccleston is the character that comes out of that regeneration. It makes so much sense. And even as he ages down, as you get through Tennant and Matt Smith, of trying to kind of run away from this issue that he committed mass genocide. And then kind of getting to the 50th and accepting it, and then becoming really old as Capaldi and like kind of owning what he did in the past. I feel like a lot of stuff makes sense. And I really like, certain fan theories, and maybe we could get into that in the future. But man,
I love fan theories. So much. But you're right. It does. It comes, like we said, full circle when you get it all. Man. Oh, my God. I can't wait to talk about theories. I know. Can't wait.
But for your rating for this episode, and for those of you in the chat, what would you rate this episode?
Definitely. We'd love to know what you guys think about the episode. So let's hear your audience scores. Go ahead and tell us in the chat now.
And what about yours?
All right, and while we're doing that, we'll do a little time travel, and I'll spend some time talking about what I think. No, I love this episode. Like I said, it's a must-watch. Everything about it, the introduction to the Dalek, the acting from almost everyone, they did it perfectly. We had our cheesy moments.
Yes.
We had our moments that were just like, clutch your pearls, don't say anything. You have to hear every word. There are moments visually where you're just like, this is the first time I've kind of seen this. And weird enough, that exo kind of like X-ray kind of view, every time I see it, it does kind of give a chill. And it's like, it's so cheesy, but it gives me a chill because I know what it's coming from. You know? And the Dalek is just
it vaporizes
a weapon
your
for
entire...
mass destruction. It's there to
and
kill.
that's its only like directive. Like that's the only thing their like sole purpose in life is to destroy, to exterminate.
Oh God, and that's just dangerous. And so with that, just all of that together, it sets up so much for me. I gotta give this episode a 5 out of 5. It is one of the best Doctor Who episodes I've ever seen. I love it to this day.
It really is. I have to agree, and I feel like we have US Dutch Kitty also gives it a 5 out of 5. I have to give it a 5 out of 5, especially early on where I feel like some of the episodes tend to be very weak. This is a standout, stellar episode for Doctor Who.
Oh boy, definitely on all cylinders.
And I'm interested if anyone else in the chat won't give it a 5 if you say it was like a horrible episode.
Yeah, I would love to know as to why. Just go ahead and kind of let us know exactly how you feel about the episode in the comments, because we're looking like we're about to close to ending the show. So if you don't get to tell us right now during the chat, you can still tell us what you thought about it in the comments. Now, where can everybody find you?
I am Elle Tea on Instagram, but also I am in that THS Hashtaggers group on Facebook. So if you ever want to @ me there, I will respond to questions, comments, confessions, whatever you got.
Tony gives it a 5 out of 5 as well. And for me, you can find me right here on that hashtag show. I'm on both of the Ranger shows that we have here, the Retro Ranger Wrap-Up as well as just a regular Ranger Wrap-Up, as well as this show now, which is Doctor Who.
And you're on Quest for Player?
Exactly. I was going to say you can find both of us on Quest for Player 2, and that's on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Pacific. So with that, I want to say thank you guys. We appreciate you for watching the show and
tell your friends about Doctor Who.
Yes,
we are kind of starting at the very beginning. You have time to catch up for this Retro Who live from Gallifrey show. We would love to talk to you about it. Make sure spread the word because we want to talk to more of you guys.
Heck yeah! Tell your friends, tell your family. Go ahead and grab people and just say, "Have you seen Doctor Who?" And they talk about it.
Yes, and talk to us about it. We could go off tangents too.
Heck
We are trying to build a Doctor Who community here at that hashtag show, and we want more people to discuss. We are huge fans, and we know there are huge fans out there, and we would love to invite you to come and chat with us every Sunday evening.
Exactly, like Joe said, chat us up.
Yes.
And we'll do it. We'll love it. So until then, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture.